Everyone, this is Shirley, and this is Resolution of the Heart. I am waiting for a phone call, but I brought my book, and I don't know what time I'm going to get this call. So, I figured I am going to make a video. We're going to get this out here today. And on my other channel, I have some cooking that I did last week, which I was going to put out, but I put out a different video. I may have to stop this video quickly if my phone call come through, but I will pick it back up, or may just start all over and you never see this. So anyone new, I'd like to welcome you to my channel. I hope that you come back. Please take the time to leave a thumbs up, to leave a comment, to subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And for my older subscribers, I care about you. You stand by me, whatever few it is. I appreciate it. Please don't think I don't. This keeps me motivated and going, being able to do this reading like I say it many times before, and I do want to thank you. So I hope it's not too much noise. Airplanes and things going by all of a sudden. Okay, so we are in the science of self-realization. We are on chapter 1. And chapter 1 begins with, you guys, my glasses, learning the science of the soul. I hope y'all can see that. So I hope everyone is doing well. Can't see the time up there. Any background noise? Oh, my glasses are always so dirty. It's like, I wonder I can never see, okay? They're just dirty. I seem like I keep cleaning them and they just, oh my gosh, they just get so dirty. And you never think that you're putting your hands on the glass when you pick them up, but evidently, or take them off your face, evidently I am. Okay, so let's get started here. So, seeing, S-E-I-I-N-G, because that didn't sound right to my ear, the aim of human life. At present, human society is being misled by leaders who are blind, for they do not know the aim and objective of human life, which is self-realization and the reestablishment of our lost relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Krishna Conscious movement is trying to enlighten human society in this important matter. This is very important. Krishna Conscious movement is meant to save human society from spiritual death. At the present, human society is being misled by leaders who are blind, for they do not know the aim and objective of human life, which is self-realization and reestablishment of our lost relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the missing point. The Krishna Conscious movement is trying to enlighten human society in this important matter. According to Vedic civilization, the perfection of life is to realize one relationship with Krishna or God. In the Bhagavad Gita, which is accepted by all authorities in transcendental science, the basis of all Vedic knowledge, we understand that not only human beings, but all living entities are part and parcel of God. The parts are meant for serving the whole, just as the legs, hands, fingers, ears are meant for serving the total body. We living entities, being parts and partial of God, are duty bound to serve Him. Actually, our position is that we are always rendering service to someone, either to our family, our country, our society. Even if we have no one to serve, sometimes we keep a pet, a cat or a dog, and render service to it. All these factors prove that we are constitutionally meant to render service. Yet in spite of serving to the best of our abilities, we are not satisfied. Nor is the person to whom we are rendering that service satisfied. On the material platform, everyone is frustrated. The reason for this is that the service being rendered is not properly directed. For example, if we want to render service to a tree, we must water the root. If we pour water on the leaves, branches, twigs, there's a little benefit. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead is served, all other parts and partials will be automatically satisfied. Consequently, all welfare activities, as well as service to society, family, nation, are realized by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the duty of every human being to understand his constitutional position with God and to act accordingly. If this is possible, then our lives become successful. Sometimes, however, we feel challenged and say, there is no God, or I am God, or even I don't care for God. But in actuality, this challenging spirit will not save us. God is there, and we can see him at every moment. If we refuse to see God in our life, then he will be present before us as cruel death. If we do not choose to see him in one feature, we will see him in another. There are different features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is the original root of the entire cosmic manifestation. In one sense, it is not possible for us to escape him. This Krishna conscious movement is not blind religious fanaticism, nor is it a revolt by some recent upstart. Rather, it is an authorized scientific approach to the matter of our eternal necessity in relation with the absolute personality of Godhead. The supreme enjoyer, Krishna consciousness, simply deals with our eternal relationship with him and the process of discharging our relative duties to him. Thus, Krishna conscious enables us to achieve the highest perfection of life attainable in the present human form of existence. We must always remember that human life is attained only after an evolution of many millions of years, and the cycle of transmigration of the spirit soul. In this particular form of life, the economic question is more easily solved than the lower animal forms. There are swine, dogs, camels, asses, and so on, whose economic necessities are just as important to them as ours are to us. But the economic question of these animals and others are solved under primitive condition, whereas the human being is given all the facilities for leading a comfortable life by the law of nature. Why is man given a better chance to live than the swine or other animals? Why is a high-posted government officer given a better facility for a comfortable life than an ordinary clerk? The answer is very simple. The important officer has to discharge duties of a more responsible nature than those of ordinary clerk. Similar, the human being has to discharge higher duties than the animals, who are always busy with filling their hungry stomachs. But by law of nature, the modern animalistic standards of civilization has only increased the problem of filling the stomach. When we approach some of those polished animals for spiritual life, they say that they only want to work for the satisfaction of their stomachs, and that there is no necessity of inquiring about the Godhead. Interesting, huh? It's getting hot in here, y'all. I hate to open the window. Despite their eagerness to work hard, there is always the question of unemployment, and so many other impediments occur by the laws of nature. This, they still denounce the necessity of acknowledging the Godhead. We are given this human form of life not just to work hard like the swine or dog, but to attain the highest perfection of life. If we do not want that perfection, then we will have to work very hard, for we will be forced to by the laws of nature. In closing, in the closing days of Kali Yuga, this present age, men will have to work hard like asses for only scrap of bread. This process has already begun, and every year the necessity for harder work for lesser wages will increase. Ain't that the truth, you guys? Whew, that's a mouthful. No. Yet human beings are not meant to work hard like animals. And if a man fails to discharge his duties as a human being, he is forced to transmigrate to the lower species of life by the laws of nature. The Bhagavad Gita very vividly describes how a spirit soul, by the laws of nature, takes his birth and gets a suitable body and sense organs for enjoying matter in the material world. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated that those who attempt but do not complete the path of approaching God, in other words, those who have failed to achieve complete success in Krishna consciousness, are given the chance to appear in the families of the spiritually advanced or in financially well-to-do mercantile families. I'm going to read that again. I think I got that crossed. Airplane, sorry. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated that those who attempt but do not complete the path of approaching God. So that would be someone like me and you, hopefully. We're attempting to get there. Well, I know I am attempting to get there, and I hope that's your goal too. In other words, and if it's not, it's okay. Whatever your way is, okay? In other words, those who have failed to achieve complete success in Krishna consciousness are given the chance to appear in the families of the spiritually advanced or in financially well-to-do mercantile families. If the unsuccessful spiritual aspirant are offered such chances of a noble parentage, what of those who have actually attained the required success? Wow. Therefore, an attempt to go back to Godhead, even if half finished, guarantees a good birth in the next life. Isn't that good? Both the spiritual and financially well-to-do families are beneficial for spiritual progress because in both families, one can get a good chance to make further progress from the point where he stopped in his previous birth. In spiritual realization, the atmosphere generated by a good family is favorable for the cultivation of spiritual knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita reminds such fortunate, well-born person that their good fortune is due to their past devotional activities. Unfortunately, the children of these families do not consult the Bhagavad Gita, being misguided by Maya, which is illusion. Birth in the well-to-do family solves the problem of having to find sufficient food from the beginning of life, and later a comparatively easier and more comfortable way of life can be led. Being so situated, one has a good chance to make progress in spiritual realization. But as ill luck would have it, due to the influence of the present Iron Age, which is full of machines, mechanical people, the sons of the wealthy are misguided for sense enjoyment, and they forget the good chance they have for spiritual enlightenment. Therefore, nature, by her laws, is setting fires in the golden homes. It was the golden city of Laka, under the regime of the demonic Ravana, that was burnt to ashes. That is the law of nature. The Bhagavad Gita is a preliminary study of the transcendental science of Krishna consciousness, and it is the duty of all responsible heads of state to chalk out their economic and other progress by referring to the Bhagavad Gita. We are not meant to solve economic questions of life by balancing on a tottering platform. Rather, we are meant to solve the ultimate problem of life, which arises due to the law of nature. Civilization is static unless there is spiritual movement. The soul moves the body, and the living body moves the world. We are concerned about the body, but we have no knowledge of the spirit that is moving that body. Without the spirit, the body is motionless or dead. The human body is an excellent vehicle by which we can reach eternal life. It is our rare and very important boat for crossing over the ocean of nescience, which is the material existence. On this boat there is service of an expert boatman, the spiritual master. By divine grace, the boat plows the water in a favorable wind. With all this auspicious factor, who would not take the opportunity to cross over the ocean of nescience? If one neglects this good chance, it should be known that he is simply committing suicide. There is certainly a great deal of comfort in the first-class coach of a train, but if the train does not move towards its destination, what is the benefit of an air-conditioned compartment? Contemporary civilization is much too concerned with making the material body comfortable. No one has information of the real destination of life. I like that, because we don't. I didn't. What is the real destination of life? Do you know? Is it just to do the material things? What is it? When you think about it hard, we love our families, we like our homes. A lot of people like to shop and eat and this and that. But is that really, sorry, truck going by. But as it says, too fast, no one has information of the real destination of life. Do you really believe that we are here? Hold on. Well, you guys, that was not who I was looking for, but I will keep going. So the question is, and my question is too, is like, no one has information of the real destination of life. You guys think about that. Really, really think about that. I'm thinking about that, okay? Which is to go back to Godhead. We must not just remain seated in a comfortable compartment. We should see whether or not our vehicle is moving towards its real destination. There is no ultimate benefit in making the material body comfortable at the expense of forgetting the prime necessity of life, which is to regain our lost spiritual identity. To regain our lost spiritual identity. Okay? And it's there. It's here. It is. The boat of human life is constructed in such a way that it must move toward a spiritual destination. Unfortunately, this body is anchored to mundane consciousness by 5 strong chains, which are attachment to the material body due of ignorance of spiritual facts, attachment to kinsmen due to the body relation, attachment to the land of birth and to material possessions such as a house, furniture, estate, property, business, papers, etc., attachment to material science, which always remains mysterious for want of spiritual life. 5. Attachment to religious forms and holy rituals without knowing the personality of Godhead or his devotees who make them holy. These attachments which anchor the boat of human body are explained in detail in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. They are compared to a deeply rooted banyan tree, which is ever increasing its hold on the earth. It is very difficult to uproot such a strong banyan tree, Banyan, in case I'm not clear. But the Lord recommends the following process. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down the strong-rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek the place from which having gone one that didn't sound right. Therefore, one must seek the place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. That's Bhagavad Gita 15:34. And that Bhagavad Gita is Just As It Is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Okay, that's the correct interpretation of the Vedas. And it's such a, man, you guys. Let me go on. Neither the scientists nor the speculative philosophers have yet arrived at any conclusion concerning the cosmic situation. All they have done is posit different, I think it says posit, P-O-S-I-T, posit different theories about it. Some of them say that the material world is real. Others say that it is a dream, and yet others say that it is ever existing. In this way, different views are held by mundane scholars. But the fact is that no mundane science or speculative philosopher has ever discovered the beginning of the cosmos or its limitations. No one can say when it began or how it floats in space. They theoretically propose some laws, like the law of gravitation, but actually they cannot put this law to practical use. For want of actual knowledge of the truth, everyone is anxious to promote his own theory to gain certain fame, but the actual fact is that this material world is full of miseries, and that no one can ever overcome them simply by promoting some theories about the subject. The personality of Godhead, who is fully cognizant of everything in his creation, inform us that it is not in our best interest that we desire to get out of this miserable existence. We must detach ourselves from everything material to make the best use of a bad bargain. Our material existence must be 100% spiritualized. Iron is not fire, but it can turn into fire by constant association with fire. Similar detachment from the material activities can be affected by spiritual activities, not by material inertia. Material inertia is the negative side of material action. But spiritual activity is not only the negation of material action, but the activation of our real life. I'm going to read that again because I'm not quite sure if I got that. Material inertia is the negative side of material action. But spiritual activity is not only the negation of material action, but the activation of our real life. I hope you guys got that. We must be anxious to search out our eternal life, our spiritual existence in Brahma, the Absolute. The eternal kingdom of Brahma is described in, described in the Bhagavad Gita as the eternal country for which no one returns. That is the kingdom of God. And I know you guys who are readers of spiritual material know the kingdom of God, that phrase, okay? The beginning of our present material life cannot be traced, nor is it necessary for us to know how we became conditioned in material existence. We have to be satisfied with the understanding that somehow or other this material life has been going on since time immemorial, and now our duty is to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, who is the original cause of all causes. The plenary qualifications for going back to Godhead is given in the Bhagavad Gita 15:5. One who is free from illusion, false prestige, false association, who understands the eternal, who is done with material lust, and is free from duality of happiness and distress, and who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Personality, attain the eternal kingdom. That sounds like a lot, you know? But from what I'm learning, and when I say what I'm learning, not just the book, I'm saying what I am physically, my body, my mind, my spirit, spiritually, is that things do start falling off as time go by. The more you add spirituality, true spirituality to your life through a bona fide devotee of God, and through reading books, things do they do drop off. You know, I think of when I, if anybody watched me, and when I started to become not just a vegetarian, but more when I start, we call it start eating prasadam, where you don't eat meat, and the food that you do eat, you try to cook it yourself, and you offer it to God. You pray over it, and you offer it to God, and then you eat it, and it is really different. I mean, I'm nobody far as any spiritual anything, another plane, but even on my own food, when I do that, the food tastes so much better. My body feels so much better. But back to what I was saying, if you remember in the beginning, when I started and I was making videos and cooking and things like that, that I was trying to make things like, because I was letting go of like chicken and fish. So I was trying to make a imitation type of chicken and fish, like with tofu. I was saying, okay, let's do this fish like meal, or let's do this chicken like meal. Then I got to the point, I was watching some of the videos and people that I like, and they were doing really great things. But then I just started getting tired. I'm like, this is nonsense. Why am I making stuff that I wanted to taste like something that I should not want? If I'm not going to eat a fish, then why pretend that I want to cook a fish, even though it's not a fish? I mean, that's my point, to where it stopped, and I no longer desire chicken and fish, and I wasn't big on beef and all that other stuff, but none of the meat products, they just drop away on their own. So it's not about me just becoming a vegetarian because it's fashionable, but it's me becoming a vegetarian because of the principle that all those are living beings. Those are living beings, okay? And we should not be killing them, and we should not be eating them. That's the bottom point to it. We should not be killing them, and we should not be eating them. And now that it's, we grew up on that. I grew up on it, not big, but, eating chicken and eating fish on Friday, those things, that taste, that taste for that don't go away easily, but it goes away with constant spiritualizing what you do. So you can eat, but you're spiritualizing it. You're not eating that kind of food. I hope that made sense. So I left off at, I'm going to go back a little bit. And one who is free from the illusion of false prestige, false association, who understand the eternal, who is done with material lust. And that, in a sense, is a way of lusting over meat, animals, dead animals. It's been dead for a very, very long time, okay? That has been given color to make you think that it's fresh, red dye, lusting over those things. And free from duality of happiness and distress. So I'm going to say at this point, no, I don't know everything. I barely know anything. I'm like scratching the surface, okay, of all this. But I will say is that that duality, here's a guy behind me, his dog don't want to walk. Like, tell him I hope he's not pooping in the yard. But anyway, so that duality of happiness and distress. So we have to be free from that. I'm still working on that. Because I do. You know, things happen, and you get very you get distressed over it. I'm finding out that I'm learning a lot about my body and how I handle stuff. That's the one thing I can tell you. I didn't realize how I handle stress, and in a sense that I've never been really stressed out until these last few years. And so I just didn't, that stress, I didn't really handle it. I've always been somewhat a happy person. I've said this many times, I did what I wanted to do. My husband allowed me to do what I wanted to do. And I enjoyed my life with him. And I enjoyed my kids. But as being on my own, like many other women, and I've heard them in the past, like, I'm a single mother, and some of the older people, they're single and alone. Well, I understand that now, what it means to think on stress and happiness. And so slowly, the stress is going away. Everything that we go to, in which I'm learning, is that these things that we go through, and I've heard, I can't think of, McTeer, I can't think of her name, designs, she do jewelry, we are going through to learn these things. This is a learning experience for us. This earth is for us to grow. We need to know what our purpose is. And it's not just to grow materially and gain all the riches of the world, but it's to grow, to learn who we truly are. So that duality, for us to become free from duality of happiness and distress, that's a hard one. Okay? Because we do get stressed out. And sometimes we do get overly happy, thinking that we did something on our own. But all these are lessons. And we need to remain within, within God's law. Because all this stuff is just... Well, I'm going to stop now. From duality of happiness. Now, another plane. You would think I was at the airport, but I'm not. And who knows how to surrender to the Supreme Person attains the eternal kingdom. So let me just make this comment. If I'm making any mistakes, realize that I am a beginner. This is only my view of why I'm reading it now. And if you want, accurate knowledge, and talk to a I won't say certified, but a devotee who has been living their life this way. The information is below. It's the Bhakti community. They have courses on many subjects during the week. You don't have to attend them all, and they all are on Zoom, so you can learn more. If you want to, please click it or just let me know, or if you actually want this book. Okay, so one who is convinced of his spiritual identity is freed from the material conception of existence, who is free from illusion and is transcendental to the modes of material nature, who constantly engages in understanding spiritual knowledge, and who has completely severed my mind is severed himself from sense enjoyment. I don't know if that's right. Sometimes I look at words and my mind say one thing, and then severed himself from sense enjoyment, can go back to Godhead. Such a person is called Amudha, 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 as distinguished from mudhe, are foolish and ignorant. Okay, so did we get that? So there's two words. The one person who has completely severed his sense enjoyment can't go back to Godhead, and that person is called a mudhe, as distinguished from mudhe, are foolish and ignorant. For he is free from duality of happiness and distress. And what is the nature of the kingdom of God? It is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15:6 as follows: the abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. How did that sound, you guys? I think it sounds wonderful. And when I think about it, it sounds good to be able to serve God, to live the life that you were meant to live, to be the soul that you were meant to be. I know, sometimes we find that this is all attractive. Some people enjoy going back and forth, like far as debating and winning. Some people are very aggressive of it. It's their nature, but in this world, because what I think about is, I think about Krishna and, well, this is something I don't think we have talked about, so I won't go there. But anyway, the abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun, moon, or by electricity. Okay, so we won't need that. No PG&E bill. Okay, none of that. We just give love and service. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. Although every place in the creation is within the kingdom of God, because the Lord is the supreme proprietor of all planets. There is still the Lord's personal abode, which is completely different from the universe in which we are now living, another plane. And this abode is called Paramam, or the supreme abode. Even on this earth, there are countries where the standard of living is high, and countries where the standard of living are low. So did you guys get that? So God's abode is called Paramam, 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 or the supreme abode. Even on this earth, there are countries where the standard of living is high and countries where the standard of living is low. Besides this earth, there are innumerable other planets distributed all over the universe, and some are considered superior planets, and some are inferior places. In any case, all planets within the jurisdiction of the external energy, material nature, requires the rays of sun or the light of fire for their existence, because the material universe is a region of darkness, and we do know that. We live on a planet that is surrounded by darkness. Okay? And so we need that light, the sunlight, the fire to exist. It's funny how, might change the subject just a little bit, as human beings, we're so fragile. You know, we are very fragile. We are. And we do take that for granted at times. Beyond the region, however, is the spiritual realm, which is described as functioning under the superior nature of God. The realm is described, REAM, is described in the Upanishads. Thus, there is no need of sun, moon, or star, nor is the abode illuminated by electricity or any form of fire. All material universes are illumined by reflection of the spiritual light. And because that superior nature is self-luminous, we can experience a glow of light even in the densest darkness of night. In the Hari Vamasa, the spiritual nature is explained by the Supreme Lord himself as follows. The glaring effulgence of the impersonal Brahman, and this is in parentheses, the square ones, the impersonal absolute, illuminates all existence, both material and spiritual. But, O Brahma, you must understand that this Brahman illumination is my effulgence of my body. So it sounds as if, this effulgence that is illuminating everything is like the glow of Krishna's body, of the Almighty's body. And even in the darkest skies, we still have little illumination of light. Isn't that great? This is beautiful. Last page, you guys. In the Brahma Samahati, this conclusion is confirmed. We should not think that we can attain that abode by material means, such as a spaceship, but we should know for certain that one who can attain the spiritual abode of Krishna can enjoy eternal spiritual bliss without interruption. As fallible living entities, we have two phases of existence. One is called the material existence, which is full of miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. And the other is called the spiritual existence, in which there is an incessant spiritual life of eternity, bliss, knowledge. In the material existence, we are ruled by the material conception of the body and the mind. But in the spiritual existence, we can always relish the happy transcendental contact of the personality of Godhead. In spiritual existence, the Lord is never lost to us. The Krishna conscious movement is trying to bring that spiritual existence to humanity at large. In our present material consciousness, we are attached to the central material conception of life. But this conception can be removed at once by devotional service to Krishna. Our Krishna consciousness, if we adopt the principle of devotional service, we can become transcendental to the material conception of life and be liberated from the modes of goodness, passion, ignorance. Even in the midst of various material engagements, everyone who is engaged in the material affair can derive the highest benefit from the pages of Back to Godhead and other literature of the Krishna conscious movement. These literatures help all people serve the root of the indefatigable banyan tree of material existence. These literatures are authorized to train us to renounce everything related to material conception of life and to relish spiritual nectar in every object. This stage is obtainable only by devotional service and nothing else. By rendering such service, one can at once get liberation, mukti. Even during this present life, most spiritual endeavors are tinged with the color of materialism. But pure devotional service is transcendental to all material pollution. Those who desire to go back to Godhead need to only adopt the principles of Krishna conscious movement and simply aim their consciousness at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. So that is the end. And when we start up, will be on your original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. So you guys, thank you for staying with me. I do appreciate this time that we spend together. There was a lot in that book, and some of the stuff that you recognize come from the other book, like the modes of nature, goodness, passion, goodness, and ignorance. Okay, and those are the modes of nature, and we see it around us every day. Also, it's good to know that we can find out what our life is really meant to be. You know, sometimes it takes, sometimes it takes a long time. You know, when I think of my life, it's been very interesting, and it still is. I swear, it's not complicated, you know, but it's very interesting because you can be doing nothing, at least you think you're doing nothing, and things that will just happen, you know, because that's the way life is. There's a constant motion going on, and you know, we have to make decisions on those different things that's happening around us and in our life. But the thing is to always, if the best that you can, because I'm no one to preach as far as you, because I'm still working on myself, to keep God in view of whatever decisions you make in your life. And realize that when you get sick, because we all are going to get sick, because we know that this life is of misery. We have birth, we stay here for a little while, you know, we have that, you know, when nobody can tell you anything, you start growing old, and then you expire, your body expire. And those are the miseries. I don't know, I hope I said, and you know, illness. I'm sorry if I didn't. And sometimes we can see ourselves and other people with many, many illnesses. And so those are some of the miseries of having a human body. But we're not this body, we are a spiritual soul. And we have to remember that. I hope this idiot right here is not gonna, okay. See how life goes? We have to remember that did I just lose my cool? Did I just lose my cool? I think I did. See, I'm a progress in work. That we need to realize that we are not these bodies, and things are going to happen to us physically, you know, mentally, because that's the way it is. Because we are only here temporarily, and we're here for a reason and a purpose. We have a purpose, and that purpose is to go back to Godhead. That purpose is to learn what we need to learn, you know, and make it there. But what I do like is that it said, you know, even in this lifetime, as right now, if I don't make it, I have a chance to come back in a different family and to further my knowledge of God until I get it, until I'm able to surrender. So there is hope, you guys. So whatever your belief is, you know, you can Add this. Add these steps in your life. I'm gonna let you go. I don't know what time it is. Okay, I'm right on time. 32 minutes. So, thank you for being with me. I'm gonna upload this, and just in case you see me this outfit again, I might read the next chapter for the next week, because it's good, and I'm still waiting for my phone call. But I will see you on the next one. Take care of yourself. Do the best that you can for yourself. And if you can help someone else, do that. And life is good because it gives us the opportunity to know who God is. And that's the best opportunity we have. You know, everything around us change, people go through things, people leave us, all kind of stuff. And good things happen too. But when it's all said and done, we're responsible for our own spirituality. And I've learned that. Just as we are responsible for our own actions, I've learned that. You know, some people don't get those lessons. I think that's why, and you can put down below, that's why so many miserable people, because we keep doing the same thing over and over, and we expect something different because we are following our senses. We don't have the right direction.